Let's talk about a complicated example of making a list of lists in Mathematica. And so list of lists, well, table makes a list, and so table of table makes a list of lists. So this thing here, okay, this by itself makes a list. And we're going to do that procedure that I just underlined. We're going to do that 3 times, once for I equals 1, I equals 2, I equals 3. And let's see what happens in the first case. So when I equals 1, then what's the inside list that gets made? So I have 1 plus 2 times j. So what's j going to be in this case? J is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. And so I have 1 plus 2 times 1, so I have 3. Then I have 1 plus 2 times 2, so I have 5. And I can see the pattern. It's going up by 2. Okay, so this is my first inside list. Okay, so for example, think of this as being completely analogous to nested for loops. So here is my outer for loop. Here is my inner for loop. It's just a little different syntax in Mathematica from how it works in MATLAB, but it's the same kind of idea. So for example, this number here, this number 7, that was produced by I equals 1, j equals 3. So I equals 2. Well, it seems like it's going to be very similar, but notice that, so I'd say the reason this is a difficult question is because of this I here. So this is something I can't do in my head. I have to carefully write it down. So this I equals 2 now. So that is saying that I go from 1 to 4 increment by 2. So in this case, j is going to start at 1, go up by 2. Okay, and never go past 4. So next would be 5. So it's just j equals 1 and j equals 3. So I have I equals 2, j equals 1. So I have 2 plus 2. I have 4. And even though I knew what this pattern was up here, that pattern is not going to hold anymore. So I have to think about it more carefully. So I equals 2. J equals 3, so 2 plus 6, so I have 8. Okay, this is my second inside list. I equals 3. So j starts at 1, goes up by I, so goes up by 3, and never goes past 4. So do I want to include 4 here? Yes, I do. Hey, it's nice that Mathematica and MATLAB work the same way in that regard. So for example, if you're using colon in MATLAB and you say go up towards 4 as the upper bound, if you hit 4 exactly, then you include it. Same in Mathematica. If you hit 4 exactly, then you include it. So here I have I equals 3, j equals 1. So 3 plus 2 times 1, so I have 5. And then I have I equals 3, j equals 4. So I have 3 plus 8, so I have 11. And then total, what's the answer going to be? So the final answer is going to be the following list of lists. We get 3, 5, 7, 9. Then we get 4, 8. Then we get 5, 11. And so if I asked a question about this table, like what's its length, what would the answer be? Length would be 3. Okay, just because there are 3 things in the outside. Here's the first thing. Here's the second thing. Here's the third thing. If I typed flatten for this, and then I said what's the length, then the length would be 8, it looks like, because these inner list demarcations go away, and I just have this list of these 8 different numbers. And so, yeah, and that's an example of working with table to make a list of lists, and this is analogous to nested for loops from MATLAB.